we going to do today? We got some really interesting things to talk about, but we are going to start off with some interesting things to talk about with a Swash-thru, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to bring him on right now. It is the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Tree Godfather. What is going on, brother? Can you hear me all right?
Man, I can hear you loud and clear. Nice, strong Westman voice booming across the internet.
Fantastic, fantastic. What's going on with you, and what are we going to talk about? What do you have to tell everybody about today?
Well, you know, I have a couple of stories I sent you that we're going to talk about. I'm going to address something else first, because I saw a comment before I jumped over here into StreamYard, and as a commenter on the stream who said, when are white people going to get out and actually do things? What's with all the white cowards, or something to that effect? And I'm going to reiterate what I said last night on the Gumtree, the newest edition of the Shade Tree from Down Under. Epic space, outstanding job by those gentlemen. But you know, actions require people to discuss strategies, and that's what we do here. We change the conversation. We make it okay to talk about our victimization, because our words, language, precipitates action. So don't think that just because you don't see everybody marching with pitchforks that things aren't happening. This community is literally changing the dialogue across the planet. It is making it okay to talk about us being victimized. And 5 years ago, that is something that you just didn't see. You couldn't even say anything in defense of white people. And now you see many normies are even picking up the lexicon and going, yeah, that's anti-white. That's not okay. Brother, we are winning.
We are absolutely winning. Yeah. And it's obviously it's a real failing of understanding the conflict that we're in, the battlefield that we're in, the tools with which the battle is waged. And when you have a complete misunderstanding of that, I mean, it's akin to believing that nothing's being done in warfare, in a kinetic warfare between nations, if crossbows aren't being used, because you're so accustomed to crossbows being used. And so where are the crossbows? Crossbows are ineffective. It's just like your firearms or your pitchforks are ineffective for the modern battlefield. The United States was not defeated with firearms. The United States was defeated with ideas and concepts, a psychological warfare, and the Go Free practice undermines that psychological warfare. So absolutely, man, you put it perfectly. And yeah, we're going to be celebrating even more under the gum tree. It was so epic last night, ladies and gentlemen. If you missed it, you don't want to miss it. Next Saturday at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it was truly magnificent. But brother, without further ado, let's get to some of these items that you wanted to talk about, because they're really interesting.
So if you want to bring up the video, and I'll tell you when to go ahead and hit the play. You might have heard about this story out of Hopkinton, Massachusetts, about the mean old man that beat up the poor disabled child. Now, this story has gone very viral. I think many people have seen. I've seen it in like 50 or 60 different media outlets. This story is part of the anti-white narrative, and very few people will pick up on why that is. Brother, I'll let you play the video first, and then we'll break it down.
All right. Yeah, well, this is from the Boston News. Residents only dispute graphic video shows violent confrontation at the beach. So let's go ahead and watch the video that the youths, the younger men, are taking here.
Yeah, we need some audio, brother.
Yeah. That should fix it.
Bad. It's time to go. Time to go. You live there and listen to you doing it all day long and see how you like it.
Whoop-de-doo, you bought a house on the lake. Deal with
yeah,
it.
well, whoop-de-doo.
He does live there and he does listen to it. Like, what? I'm following the rules of the lake. I'm not
no, you're not. You're not following. You see the sign?
Everybody else.
You see the sign? You see the sign? Can you read?
No. I stopped too. Because it's so bad, bro.
Oh, you didn't stop there one time. Believe me. Time to go.
Like,
just if you only stayed for a little while and did your thing, it's time to go.
Let me have fun on my jet ski.
No, go take it to another lake, someplace
I
else.
live on the lake.
Where do you live?
On Downey Street.
You don't. We're in the stick. Go over to Downey. Go over there.
Bro, dude, get a job, bro.
Where do you live? What number not Downey you live
I'm
on?
not telling you where I live.
Well, I'll find out by your registration of your car.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I will.
No, you won't, actually. You
I will.
Won't. I promise you won't.
Dude,
I promise
just
you
get
I
out
will.
of here, bro. You're not gonna do like, really. What are
I'll
you gonna
just
do?
call the police again. That's all.
Okay, are they gonna shoot me? Like, is that what they're gonna do?
You want me to shoot you?
black.
All right, shoot me, then. Shoot me.
You're gonna beat up a cripple?
Bro, are you
I don't care. I'm about to come take trouble. Come on. Come on, big boy. Come on, big boy.
What are you gonna do?
Come on,
Shoot
big
me?
boy. Come on, big boy. Do
What
it.
am I gonna do?
Come on, big boy.
You're the one coming up to me. So
Come on,
get
big
the
boy.
fuck
Let's do
out of
it.
here.
Come on.
Get
Use
the
that
fuck
big
outta
mouth of
here.
yours
You
and scoop
fucking
some about it.
Yo,
Suck
fuck
with your
you,
mouth.
bro.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Yo, get you.
Hold on, right now. Stop this. Stop. Hey, you don't look at me first and I have a broken leg. Back off. I'm calling the cops on you. Back off. I have a broken leg. I have a broken leg, you. Calm down.
You're gonna fucking stop
this.
Are you gonna stop?
Stop this. What is wrong with you?
Hey, back
I have a broken leg, you.
Is he your friend? All right, get him away. Get him away. Get my phone. Get my phone. Hey,
What's wrong with you, dude?
come on over here.
No.
Get my phone.
Dude, I was gonna hit you. I was saying get out of here. You're being a for no reason.
Going anywhere. The cops are coming. They know where to find me.
Hey, he injured a crippled person. You know that? I'll sue him.
That's a big joke, bro.
And he's still lost. All right. Oh, no apology. I'm crippled. You're he's You guys together?
Yeah, I know.
And the other guy?
I don't know who they are.
I hope his eye never gets healed.
Just in a motorcycle accident. He broke almost every bone in his body.
I was dead 2 months ago, so I'm gonna sue him. I already have a lawyer, so he's gonna be hearing from it. All right.
It's annoying.
All right, brother.
All right,
Tell
so
us about it.
let's break down some of the backstory here because I know this video does look bad, but let's break this down from the factual standpoint that you're not going to read in any of the news. So here's a map. You can see the red circle is where this happened. This is down the hill from this guy's yard. This is his property. It's a public lake. Even there's no such thing as a private lake in Massachusetts. They're all under the Great Bodies Act. Essentially, they're all have to be publicly accessible, even though all the property around it is private. And you can see in this Google map view. Now, to the north and east is the public launch and the public beach. But that's not where this happened. So they're on his property. They're not in the lake. He owns up to the water's edge. And he's telling them to stopping in his little landing and screwing around. This is what started the conflict. This is why he's telling them to get the hell out of there. And you can see from where these vehicles are, if you go down over the embankment, that's his property. He has a path. That's where he was. He was at the top of the path that goes down to where his launch and everything is. So the kid was apparently in a motorcycle accident. I say kid, but he's a young man. He is 21 years old. He is not a child. And of course, he talks about how he has a broken leg, although apparently it's not broken enough to stand there, and he does walk around. Even though his crutches are on the ground, he's not using them. But what's the real nature of this story? Why is this story such a big deal? What did you see in the video that they didn't want you to notice? Because they feed you a narrative in all the headline and reporting before you see this video. What is the ultimate goal? Well, you've got a young, assumably white man who's with a bunch of friends, some white, some non-white. And you've got the old blue-eyed, gray-haired white man who is enforcing our norms of behavior and standards for civility. The young men have been trained their whole lives that they don't have to follow our norms of behavior and standards for civility. They can do what they want. And you can tell by the mouth of this kid, he's not used to discipline. He is not used to being told no. He's not used to being told that we have norms and that he should follow them. In fact, not following those norms is how he got in a motorcycle accident. He was goofing off doing a wheelie at like 92 miles an hour, and that's how he wrecked his bike. Of course, you won't read that in any of the other news. You only see this when you dive into some of the local Facebook groups who know these two individuals. So this is why this is just part of the anti-white narrative, and it's very subtle because, of course, you see two people defending these kids. And I'm not saying that him necessarily slapping the dope out of him and giving him a bath necessarily was the right move. But I will say that the two most people you see defending this, the kids here, everybody's a kid to me, sorry, are women and feminized men. You will find about half the men commenting are like, yeah, well, the old man, he called the old man out and the old man took care of it. He took care of business. Because this is how we used to enforce our norms. We didn't just call the police. We enforced our norms on each other. Older men enforced our norms onto younger men. And if the younger men didn't take the lesson verbally, it got a little hotter. Iron sharpens iron. And he definitely sharpened this kid quite a bit from the looks of it. And of course, the story is the kid's disabled. Well, he's not really disabled. He had a broken leg a couple of months ago. He's probably in the last stages of healing, but he's obviously walking fine. Certainly not too disabled to run his mouth quite recklessly. And he's, there doing what he's doing on this man's property, which is why the man referenced the sign, which says you're not supposed to do this. She's now trespassing. You can jet ski all you want on the lake, but you cannot stop on somebody else's property. And that's why he's telling them, you didn't stop just once, you've stopped here several times. And that's why he kicked them off. But the anti-white narrative says that the older man who's enforcing our norms is obviously very evil. And people are talking so much crap about him. They want him, he should spend the rest of his life in prison, and he tried to drown the kid. Well, he clearly didn't, because when you hear the kid get up, he's not coughing, he's not acting like he's aspirated a bunch of water. He's talking about suing and how, because of course, you can do that nowadays. You don't have to follow our norms. You can sue when somebody enforces them on you. So that's my thoughts on this, brother, for the large part. I think this is definitely part of the anti-white narrative.
Oh, yeah. What really strikes me here is the anti-whiteism has white erased so much of our norms that there is just absolutely zero respect for seniors, for our elderly, for people's privacy, for people's peace of mind, for people's property. So much disrespect. And white kids or white young men in the past, and it holds true in fewer and fewer places. That's how white erasure works. But they would recognize if they're out having some fun. And I know we've all been in those scenarios, out having some fun, and then you end up, you're on somebody's property and they're shouting at you, and you're like, okay, right, this person's right. I don't like it, but this person's right. It's their property, it's their peace, it's our norms, and so I'm going to move along. I'm not going to stick around. I'm gonna maybe, the worst thing you do is like flip them off as you leave. Fine, I'll leave your property. And that's exactly what these young men, young guys, boys in adult bodies, that's exactly what they should have done. Obviously, these homes are right at the edge of the lake, and they are being a nuisance by sticking around the same place, revving these things. These things are very loud, two-stroke, and they're like dirt bikes, and you just got to move on. But instead, they decide they're going to insult the old guy, and they're going to challenge him to a fight. And then he goes down there, and that's the appropriate response. This guy, You got a big guy here. And this is, by the way, this is how I feel about females. I would not have punched this little guy either. Not because he broke his leg at some point 6 months ago. I don't give a shit about that. But because he's built like a little woman. And so I wouldn't have punched him in the face either. So this old guy slaps the shit out of him. That's number one. That's hilarious. And that's the way it should be done. He was handling this, the older guy, in the appropriate manner. And then, yeah, he gave him a bath. They fell down into the lake, and he gave him a bath. He wasn't drowned. This is all the anti-whiteism, the interpretations, the behavior of these young guys, everything from start to finish was anti-white. So it's a really good catch by you to see that in this news story, as so many people are overlooking, and you have the shrieking anti-white white females running out saying it's attempted murder. And if this had been a black guy doing this, they would have taken the side of the black guy. If it had been a black old guy that had done this to young white guys, they would have
100%.
All the articles would be trumpeting how magnificent the old black man was. But since it's a white man doing it now, he deserves life imprisonment for bitch slapping. And that's exactly what should happen. That is how we taught our norms when people were deviating. That's how we enforced those norms when people were deviating, when the young was. I guarantee you that this little punk ass kid grew up in an only mother, no father household. And so he had no respect. And that means it's not just no respect for this old guy. It's no respect for you when you're out in public. It's no respect for law enforcement. It's no respect for authority. And when there's no respect for any of that, you don't have Western civilization. So it's a great catch, man.
And you know what else you see? Remember, the narrative is that he was mad that they were riding jet skis. But you only see one machine, and this kid's not even the one on the jet ski. He's not wearing a PFD. As law, mass law is. I'm pretty sure that's the same everywhere, because I know it's the same here in New Hampshire. You have to be 16 or older. You have to be wearing a Type 3 PFD, which is basically a life jacket. There is a speed limit. I believe it's 45 on Massachusetts waterways. He's not doing any of that. I guarantee you, he was out there goofing around and stopping and hanging out with his friends. So yeah. Total anti-white garbage. So either you didn't have a dad, or his mom was wearing the pants in the family. Exactly. And we can spot this a mile away. And once you understand what you're looking at, you can spot this stuff and break this stuff down like an expert. So hats off to this community, because I've learned a lot of what to look for. I appreciate our hierarch and the massive amount of education he's given us all on this topic.
Big salutes to you, brother. You got another one you're tying in here, right?
Yeah, we're going to tie in another story, and we're going to see a disparity in reporting here. So if you want to bring up the next one. This young white man, he was employed at McDonald's. He was clocking out for his shift, and he was attacked by an anti-white non-white who threw a whole batch, and I'm not quite sure what the container was, but it was a big container of hot fry oil, and caused him multiple burns all over his upper torso. You can see his face is burned, his scalp is burned, his hands are burned, totally disfiguring this young white man who now may have trouble, finding a mate, getting married, settling down, hopefully carrying on to do what Westmen do. This story hasn't really been widely reported. Why? Because it contradicts the anti-white narrative.
Yeah.
And as we hear all the time, there is no double standard. The standard is all anti-white. And as soon as it was discovered that the person that attacked him, and I don't know if I sent you that as well, but it doesn't matter. It's an anti-white, non-white. And yeah, you won't see this very widely reported. I tried to find the best article with the least worst looking pictures so we don't jeopardize our channel here.
Right.
But there's other pictures, and he is extremely disfigured. Looks bad.
This
should have never happened if it weren't for the white erasure of our norms, our standards, and our people. When I was younger, this should have been he should have been working with all people that shared his own biospirit, not people of all different biospirits, many of which are hostile to us. There's no excusing any disagreement, and we don't know if there was any disagreement that started this. But we do know that he was just in the process of punching the time clock when he was attacked. He turned around and got a face full of this oil. But you won't hear this reported everywhere. No, we'll hear about the evil old white guy. Why? Because the media is anti-white.
Yes.
100% of the time. Even if you don't think it's being anti-white, look deeper and you will see the anti-whiteism every single time.
Yeah, without question. And you're seeing obviously people in the white resentment sphere, they do this all the time, but it can be useful for us to enable us to introduce the lexical and dialectical armory of Go Free, that if these races were reversed in both of these cases, in the first case, if it were an old black guy who was just given a what for to some young white punks, that would be big news. The old black guy would be interviewed on national television, and the conservative content creators would say, this is the America that we want, this one that this guy's enforcing. They're not gonna come within a million miles of the old white guy enforcing norms and standards of behavior. You'd go right to this story as you're perfectly juxtapositioning. You go right to this story, and if you flip the races around here, a young black, and by the way, let's point out, let's not pass over that they refer to the white man as a white guy, and if it were a black guy, they'd be calling him a black man. Here you have a young white man, and he's going to be referred to as a guy. But if it were a black guy, they would refer to him as a black man. And if it had been a black guy that had the oil thrown on him by some white person, again, news story around the world, the evil of the white race, the evil absolutely personified in the individual who committed the act, but all white people guilty of it, the noose of suspicion drawn around all of our throats, demands for us to show a penance, demands for us to make amends, demand, and further, and then the stories interjected into all of the anti-white obedience training that we have to go through at universities, at places of our business, etc. So absolutely a magnificent juxtaposition you brought us here today on your Swash-thru of exactly how anti-whiteism operates. And I think really powerfully, a lot of people could have watched that first news story and not seen anti-whiteism at all. Your point is profound, that everywhere we look, there's anti-whiteism. So if you don't see it, it's because you are failing to see it. It's not because it's not there. And that's important, because you're going to come into contact with vagues out there who are honestly not going to be able to see it. And you're going to come into contact with anti-whites out there who are going to be lying SOBs, who are going to say there's nothing there. And you have to articulate how it is there, how it's in operation. And I think you did so masterfully. And by the way, folks, last night, the Tree Godfather here given a master class in Under the Gum Tree, our new shade tree space run by the Baron and Lockie Lunder. It was so superb. Everything. The Tree Godfather came in there as this sagacious, this wise leader, and he was flexing on everyone with his knowledge and the elucidation of the points that he shared. So you're not going to want to miss that, especially if the Tree Godfather is going to be showing up. But yeah, really appreciate you bringing these. I would never have known about either of these stories if it weren't for you bringing it to my attention, and for the edification of everybody who's here today and who watches in replay. Is there anything else you wanted to share, brother, while we got you?
No, brother, I think that was about it. And I do appreciate the calling the attention to this. Yeah, we have to be very vigilant when we read the news, because even the stories that don't seem like anti-white, as you said, they are full of anti-whiteism. So I was glad to speak in the Gum Tree. They do plan on making more appearances, and I believe You can catch the replay of that on X, and I believe Dan is also uploading it to his YouTube channel. And that's going to be great that he's going to keep these archived because, as we learned, they actually don't stay archived forever on X. That was a surprise to me. It's unfortunate because all the Shade Tree episodes I did are gone. All the ones that Hans and CKO did are probably gone by now. And but going forward, we're going to make all of our spaces available on YouTube so that they can be archived for everybody to learn from in perpetuity. I love you all. Big salutes, Mr. Hierarch. And I will be watching this stream from YouTube. Take care.
All right, man. Big salutes to you. Thanks for coming on for a great Swash-thru. That was stupendous.